Coming up on this episode of Tom Talks Rubbish.
I used to write a lot, but that's not something that I can do as well as I used to be able
Mm,
to. And I found in podcasting what I had kind of lost in writing, which is that this is a version of storytelling. It's more personalized, it's a little more opinionated, but it's this is how people have been telling stories for the longest time, is
mm,
talking out loud to each other, telling each other stories about their lives, about what went on during the day, news.
mm.
It's just, I mean, it's very human. It made
Yeah.
me realize it one day where I was like, okay, wait, this is like the oldest form of storytelling. You can hang here.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Tom Rubbish, and stand back with another interview. This time, I'm joined by the one and only Mel from the Powerbombshell. So, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to chat with you today. So, if we take this back, where do you first discover wrestling as an overall fan?
Oh man. Oh gosh. Okay. So basically, I was the right age for the 80s for it to be plastered all over the tabloids and everything. So there was no way it wasn't invading my life.
Mm,
My mother was one of the moms who was like, don't watch that. That's fake. As if every other thing on TV isn't, which sort of drove me to occasionally pop into it and so forth. So it was like, but I didn't become a big fan until like late high school, college, which I'll be honest was in the late 1900s.
mm,
And just gonna be straight up. So the late 90s, I had struck gold. I was around for the Monday Night Wars in late high school and college. So I had a friend get me into it because I worked on a golf course and he was
mm,
into it and he would like invite me over for it. And eventually I was like, I remember the first thing I did was, which in retrospect is actually excellent, was I realized I was like, I said out loud about Triple H, I hate that guy so much. And they all
mm,
sort of like looked at me like, like she's in, she's locked in now. She's one of us. And
mm.
I bounced around. And then when I moved out to Seattle, my husband and our best friend and I, we all went to WrestleMania 19 when it was out
Oh,
there.
wow.
And we were deep in at that point. We were watching like all the shows at that point. We watched the invasion, the whole thing. And then
Mm,
we fell away for a while until in 2016 when we visited our friend in Ireland. He took us to an indie show.
mm,
And that reminded me how much I liked indie wrestling. So as soon as we got back here and we live in the Detroit metro area, and as John Muse once put it to me, if you can't find a wrestling show in Southeast Michigan, you're not looking hard enough.
mm.
And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so true. It's awesome. They're even coming to my town now. So it reignited the spark, and it blew up. I've been to two WrestleManias now. I went to the
Mm,
first two Forbidden Doors. I've been very, very, very blessed with my ability to get to in real life events. Madison Square Garden for
mm,
the ROH Supercard. So it just at New Japan, it was like my friend put it to me perfect. He was like, "You just figured out there were other kinds of wrestling." And
mm.
as soon as that happened, it was like, now I have all these things that I really enjoy. And it's like I mostly watch like New Japan, AEW, and but just like most North Americans,
Mm.
it's WWE. That's what we start with. That's our starter course. So
Mm. You mentioned that you started with WWE and things like that. I might have taken this the wrong way, but it sounds like you're really not a WWE fan now.
I
So why is that the case? Out of interest.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and slag on things. I'm not going to be one of these internet haters. It's not for me. It just isn't. It once was. I have dipped back in a few years ago. I took my last shot and I watched Rumble to Mania, and
Mm,
the Bloodline storyline I thought was really, that was when it was really good, and I enjoyed those Manias, and I still watch Mania pretty much every year. I'm more excited about the shows around it usually, but
mm,
I still tend to dip in. I mean, all things being equal, if they make it unfree on my because I get it through my internet
Oh
service
yes.
on
Oh yeah.
Peacock. If they make it unfree for me, I'm not gonna probably be going out of my way for it. It's just not where my fandom is anymore. I totally appreciate that it is what it is, but and I mean also, I mean, let's be real. Sam and I have been covering the Janelle Grant story and we've been covering
Mm,
it pretty extensively, and that doesn't make you want to. I mean, we only get to vote with so little, and like that, like voting with your wallet shred of it, it's like the tiny thing that I can do to kind of not support an overall situation that I just, and again, like what you like, I never ever would tell anyone else what to do with their fandom.
mm,
But for me, it's just not where I want to put my time and money with when I'm doing my wrestling things.
mm. You mentioned there obviously time and money and things like that, and the fact that you and Sam have been covering the Janelle Grant story. So how you did that sort of make you go, "Ew, this isn't for me"? Was that a big moment for you, Mel, sort of thing?
It wasn't like the biggest turning point because I'm pretty familiar. I mean, I've read a lot. And once I got to be a big nerd about this, I started reading books about it and asking friends like which books I should read. And so, I mean, I'm pretty familiar with WWE's past.
Mm,
And so, I mean, and trying to like die on the hill of like, oh, it's this one or that. It's too much in the way that society is run today.
mm,
However, the way that I feel about that company is just I don't get excited about it. I really enjoy wrestling. I
mm,
like in-ring wrestling. I like one-on-one. I like Zack Sabre Jr. versus Takeshita. I like two meaty men slapping meat. I like guys doing smart spots and not necessarily high spots. And I love a great promo. I think a great promo when used in the right context, is awesome.
mm,
But I think filling up your show with halftime level, promotional stuff it's not for me. It's just not where I and then as far as Janelle goes, I mean that just takes it another leg further because I didn't expect to be covering that story. I just felt as though Sam is covering the story and Sam is using our platform to talk about it, and it would be
mm,
grossly irresponsible as her co-host to be like, "Nah, I'm not going to do any of that stuff." And I support her, and I think she does really, really, really great journalistic work. She's out there like she's working it. She is actually getting paid to do journalism, and she does a great job of it, and she's one of the people that's been following that story. And I just felt as though I need to dig into this so that I can speak intelligently with my co-host about this when it happens. And I just feel like that's a responsibility. That's my personal responsibility
yeah.
to my co-host that I take upon myself. She never asked me to do that. That's not something she was like, but it's my background, it's my brain mindset. So I just said, this needs to be a thing. And that didn't help. I mean, it certainly wasn't like the thing that kicked me over. It doesn't make it better. It makes it worse. And then seeing Brock Lesnar back on the television or the whatevers is definitely a 0 out of 0 would not recommend situation for me.
I understand what you're saying completely
Tone
there.
deaf.
You brought up your co-host Sam and things like that, and wanting to feel like you could be an equal part of contributing to that story and for your show for the Power Bombshell sort of thing. Did you sort of have to do anything to sort of, I don't know, like read up on it, train yourself on how to talk about things like that? Because I know Sam has a journalistic background and things like that.
Yeah, I before I became disabled, my background was largely I was going to college for politics. I was going to
Oh,
school for journalism. I have taken it's funny because everything comes full circle, but I took contract law in undergrad. I was working towards taking my, you know, what they call an LSAT, but it's basically what gets you into law school
mm,
here in the States. And I was studying for that. Unfortunately, my dad passed away, and I was kind of like, okay, whole life change here.
yeah.
And so that kind of derailed everything. And after that dust settled, and by the time I decided to move out west to Seattle and So I kind of left I grew up, my first 20 years were on the East Coast. I moved and spent the next 13 years on the West Coast. And out there, I mean, I just never fell away from it. I used to go to the voting booth with my mom to
Yeah.
vote. I mean, I was that kid. I was so interested in governance and politics. I went to George Mason University. I mean, I was living in DC there for not quite 2 years when I went to school. So it's again, I have all these like weird things where it's like I don't necessarily know why at the time, but later on in life, these things become like re-relevant in my life. So I actually had read, court cases, and I
Mm.
understand how the long, daunting process. It's like me and BJ could sit there and nerd out about like legal process forever, and Sam's like, guys, stay focused,
Yeah.
stay with me, because it's so, I mean, in the one sense, it was like, okay, I didn't think I'd be picking up an 800-page lawsuit again for a while, but why not? And I can speak intelligently to that side of things because was, I mean, on my way there, and it's not something I
Mm.
lost interest in. I read all the time. Like, I fill a lot of my time because I'm disabled. I fill a lot of my time with trying to do things to keep myself active, whether it's brain wise or just, it's difficult here. It's trying to build a routine for myself so that I'm not just sort of, and it gets cold in the winter here. So you really have to have something to do.
Yeah, trust me.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
I don't want to say a fellow disabled because that sounds disparaging, but like as
Yeah.
somebody that has medical conditions and things like that, I do completely understand what you're saying because I live in England. That's just as cold, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh, I know. Yes.
sort of
Yes.
thing. So you talked about their wanting to go to law school and things like that. If I was to ask you, do you want to finish your law degree? Is that something you want to do?
In a way, I mean, not at this juncture because it's kind of a cluster out there.
Mm.
Uh, I would love to be able to like exist in that space, but in the long run, I think that for better or worse, I think that things went the way they were supposed to go.
Mm.
And in a sense, I kind of got not a law degree, but I am a licensed insurance agent, and everything about insurance is contracts. And that was, once again, a very interesting thing. My husband got into that recently, and we realized that we couldn't really run our little cluster of our business without me having the same credentials. So I kind of, in a way, finally like graduated from a contract situation because I mean, insurance is all contract law. It was
Yeah.
very funny when they brought it up. I was like, oh, look, you get to take what I took in college. And
Oh, wow.
so, in a way, it's like I kind of, it's not directly, but I'm still dealing in, the same kind of language, and I'm still bound by similar law now, and it's very interesting. So, and I don't like, it's not like it came out of nowhere. It,
No,
it,
no, I don't.
the industry came out of nowhere, but like knowledge that I needed for the industry was basically sitting there waiting for me
Mm.
when
You
the
mentioned
thing
the
arrives.
industry came out of nowhere then. Does that mean you weren't really looking to get involved in podcasting and things like that before Power Bombshell, should I say, and Sam came along, sort of thing?
Well, I've been podcasting since 2012.
Uh,
I started way back in the way back with my cousin and well, we're best friends. The four of us are now. But he started a podcast. It was his brainchild many, many moons ago. And so we worked on Skype with all of the early, janky
mm.
MP3
Oh, yeah.
recorders and exporting it into Audible or I am not Audible, but Audacity, and, you know, spending the first 15 minutes of your podcast complaining about how weird the software
Oh, yes.
was. So I really got into podcasting because my cousin was looking for people to talk about Mass Effect 3 on his podcast.
Ah,
And I came on there, and they shortly thereafter, his other cousin that was going to be doing the spot she couldn't do it anymore because her life situation changed, and they were like, "Do you want to take over?" And we did over 300 episodes of that. It was just general chat, and
Mm.
uh, our greatest compliment was often we were called sidecast. Our greatest compliment was often, "I don't always know what you guys are talking about, but you're having so much fun talking about it that I love listening to your show."
Oh yeah.
And they are my best friends. This is no joke. I went to 2 Decembers ago. I went to one of their wedding. He's in New Jersey. I'm in Michigan. We drove out there, and he's, it's they're my best friends. Like I've been friends with them and podcasting. I had just gotten through. I have had 3 brain surgeries, so I had just
Hmm.
gotten through that ordeal. It was not quite a year after when my cousin asked me to do that, and it was like I was at first I was a little tenuous, and then I was like, wait, is it scarier than brain surgery? And I was like, definitely not. And it actually became the thing. Like it became, so I've done a series. I did that for a long time. I did a mental health show with some gals during COVID that was a really great show, and we had an awesome time. We had a great little following over there. I've done periodic, other podcasters. What our pod bros, our pod fam. It's much like the wrestling community or like I go to Ren fairs, these communities are really tight-knit groups of like large
Mm.
groups of people that kind of we all suffer the same thing. We've all had the same glitches and the same silly stuff happen to us, and we've all had to like decide whether we're gonna edit those ums out of everything or not. And so
Oh
it's
yes.
like we, it's fun, and you have people that speak your nerd language, and I loved it. I mean, I'm so glad that I said yes because it it's intrinsically changed. Like that is something I build my life's meaning around is doing those things. And Sam coming along was just by the grace of me reaching out to Garrett when he said he was looking for people to work together and
Mm.
him being the greatest matchmaker in podcast history.
Oh yeah, that was Sam's exact words as well. Like
Yes,
you,
yes.
it's still crazy. Sam told me this that you two have never met in person, and
That's
it's like,
correct.
how? Your chemistry is amazing. Like how, if you know what I mean.
I don't know. I love it. It's amazing. It's our even our format came on its own. Like I remember the day that it was like it was after I don't even know how many, but I was like, "Do you realize that we sort of have a format now?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, we kind of do. We just
Mm.
it I don't know. Garrett has a feel for personalities, and he sat down and we both reached out to him around the same time or had someone put our name into his hat, and he was like, I have this person and this person, and he sat down with us and we kind of threw our ideas out there, and it was like, okay, as long as this isn't going to be some like crazy, like I didn't want to be like too crazy where it's like, oh man, hating thing. It was like, no, I don't want to do that either. And it was like,
Mm.
okay, cool, like we're gonna like wrestling and we're gonna talk about liking wrestling, and we might talk about some tough stuff in wrestling, and we might hold our promotions accountable, which might peeve people, but who cares? But yeah, it just we sort of did the thing. I had worked on StreamYard before because of my previous group, and so I
Mm.
knew basically how to use it, and then I've learned more since. And yeah, it just happened. We have a lot in common. We have the right amount of things not in common in the best way, in the challenging way that you're supposed to have things not in common with people, so you're keeping
Mm.
each other smart. And yeah, it's amazing. I send her and her sister holiday cards and birthday cards. I feel like they're part of my family.
Oh.
We just, I mean, we're gonna get to Charlotte one of these days because we have friends who have their home Ren fair there as well. So it's like this is just the universe being like Charlotte,
Mm.
wrestling, Ren fair, friends.
Do
So
you think
someday,
do you think we'll ever see an in-person version of the Powerbomb Bombshell podcast?
I don't know. That would be a lot of fun. It would be an undertaking, but I mean, I don't know. I'd love to do that. I would love to live in a world where that happens because I think that timeline could be real.
Mm.
I mean,
You
anything's
mentioned
possible. Stranger things have happened.
Mm. You mentioned there that obviously Sam came along at the right time and things like that, and so did Garrett. Where do you think your podcasting like journey would be if you hadn't connected with those two?
Gosh, I don't know. I'm not even sure I would be podcasting right now. I mean, I'm sure I would have figured my way around into something. I mean, people know that I do it, but I probably would have had to find more different outlets because it this is a I like storytelling and even including doing it myself. And when I I used to write a lot, but that's not something that I can do as well as I used to be able
Mm,
to. And I found in podcasting what I had kind of lost in writing, which is that this is a version of storytelling. It's more personalized, it's a little more opinionated, but it's this is how people have been telling stories for the longest time, is
mm,
talking out loud to each other, telling each other stories about their lives, about what went on during the day, news.
mm.
It's just, I mean, it's very human. It made
Yeah.
me realize it one day where I was like, okay, wait, this is like the oldest form of storytelling. You can hang here. So
Mm,
I don't know. I'm glad they did because if it I'm very accustomed because I played sports and I worked in theater and all of my background are the kind of things where it's like things come and go.
mm.
So I'm very, I understand that like you get great casts and then that ends and then you go off to a different cast that might not be the same. Or you get a great soccer team and but that ends. And so I'm very adjustable. Like I only get to see my Renaissance Festival friends like 4 or 6, maybe 1 year out of the year. And so I take all that time as much as I can. But also I've learned to roll with just being able to maximize my time with things. So I accept change may come at any moment where there may not be that outlet, but I'm certainly not taking it for granted because it did come along and I love it. There's times when I feel just downright terrible and I get on with Sam on Sunday and we just BS about wrestling and it's the greatest thing in the world. And we
You
have
mentioned
great community.
you mentioned there just quickly before we talk about your great community and things like that, that sometimes you feel downright terrible and things like that. How much has the brain surgeries you've been through and things like that helped you sort of go, I'm going to see the positive in life. I'm going to see the positive in this. Even if this podcast is downright terrible, I'm going to see the positive in that, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. 100%. I mean, it was for the quickest version possible is they found a brain tumor in 2010. They had to take it out. It was benign, fortunately. However, there were complications. I'm an epileptic. They
I'm sorry to hear that.
basically, well, I mean, there's good news. It finishes it good. So that, I always am like, I'm less weirded out about it because, as my aunt once put it, she had a special needs son, and she used to say, I'd rather have people understand than not. And so as long as people are comfortable with it, it's
Mm,
always one of my things where, but the good news is that I did live in Seattle. I did live in a great place. They were able to identify the problems.
mm.
Ultimately, it led to me having a resection of my right temporal lobe. So I am visually impaired on the left. But that doesn't stop me from doing things. It just means I can't drive and I don't go to work as a normal person in America, which I'm sure you've heard the horror stories. They're all true.
Oh yes.
Um,
Oh yes.
I know it's not much better where you are.
Oh no.
Um,
Oh
it's,
no.
it's ridiculous. Just managing your care can be a stressful thing. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely 100% changed my perspective. I do not get hung up on petty things anymore. That's why I help ground my friends when they're having troubles with things like trolls or just life in general. It's like, and I don't go running around like, well, it's not brain surgery, but it does. It's all about the way you look at things. So I definitely like value every single Sunday I get with Sam, and I value every single wrestling show I've ever been to and how lucky I've been and the people I've been with. And I can close my eyes, like I've done this a lot. I can close my eyes and put myself in those places when
Mm,
I need a pick me up because I made sure when I was there and I gave my cousin this advice on his wedding day. is to make sure no matter how crazy things get, take a minute, take a breath, and take in where you are. Make
Mm,
sure that you can remember the sounds and the smells and the people that are all there so that you can visit that space anytime. And so, because you don't know. I mean,
mm,
losing my dad at a young age, I've lost several relatives. I have kids that I've worked with in the past. I mean, it's rough out there and it's rough for
mm.
everyone. And I don't put myself in some special place. I just make sure that I'm paying attention because you just don't know. And that's
Mm.
for yourself and everyone else too. And I hope that without being bossy about it, that my behavior rubs off on the people that I care about
Yeah.
and that I'm around. So,
Have you always been like that though in your recovery, or did you have like down periods? Because I know I did with my cerebral palsy and things like that, where you just couldn't accept what was going on, or have you always been positive about your recovery and like, no, I can do this, if you know what I mean?
oh no, I basically was, it took me like 10 years to really accept that I like was disabled and to stop kind of being mean to myself about it. I didn't even really realize it until the last several years that it was like, hey, silly person, because I've got like I had really good doctors to start out with, and then I bounced around, and then I got back with good doctors again here at the
Mm.
University of Michigan. And when you get, it's a sea change when you get back with the good doctors that talk to you like a real patient that
Oh
understands
yes.
their condition.
Oh yes.
And they start to remind you that you are a person with real needs, and it reminds you that it's okay to be not able to do something and needing a nap and not being, and all these things that our societies specifically have painted as like, oh, you're being lazy or oh, it's fixable or oh, you're not trying hard enough and all the assorted things that if you clearly you understand, then
Oh
I mean
yeah.
all the ableist and weird stuff that goes on around us that we sort of have to be like, thanks for that. It's really
Mm.
great. Appreciate it. But I don't want it to define me.
Yeah.
I've told people that forever, is that
Mm.
it's a part of me and it's something I have to accept. But when I can do the things I want to do, and there are things that I want to do, and there are communities that I am a part of, I have a karaoke group on Monday night, and we all sing karaoke, and it's the most non-judgmental karaoke group in the world, and
Go-to
we have a
karaoke
great
song for
time.
you.
It's just, I think of them as like my mom used to have like a bowling team on Monday nights. That's kind of what they are. And I have a great
Mm.
group and they're in my town, so I can hang out with them because I'm cool. I have neighbors and I know them and they're awesome and I'm lucky that way. So it's good with the bad sort of stuff with me. It's always like I have to be that way because it's more like for me, it's always been like the only other choice is to like lay down and kind of just be like, I'm done.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that I
Definitely.
don't. As much as I want to, and there are some days when I'm like, nope, this is the day. I'm not getting out of bed. I give up.
Mm.
I it's like, okay, you got up at 9:30 instead of 7:45. Like
Mm.
I just I don't want I guess go down fighting, go down punching is the best
Mm.
way to put it. And learning my boundaries and understanding what my limitations are. I mean,
Mm. You talk about learning your boundaries, and actually, just quickly, because I really want to know the answer to this question. Your Monday night karaoke, what's your go-to karaoke song?
oh, my A number one song that I always do, which is it's You're So Vain by Carly Simon.
Oh wow,
And
why is that your song?
it struck me one day. Not a lot of people do it. It's something my sister and I used to make fun of the lyrics. We used to like a few I found out a few other people believed that she was saying things like clowns in my coffee.
Mm.
So it struck me one night because I was trying to think up songs that she and I used to sing as kids, and that was the one. And people like it. Um, They like when I like one of the KJs and I have a joke. Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus. We call
Mm.
it the white girl national anthem, though. So we have a little joke about it, but it's I kind of go with the vibe in the room,
Mm.
and it's not. I don't take it too seriously. It's very much for therapy, and
Mm.
that's what I love. And I have a few songs. What's nice is when when I first started out, it was like, doing whatever. But now I've become one of the people where they're like, when it's a slow night, where the KJs come over and they're like, You're singing this song, right?" It's like, "Yeah, you want to pick your favorite for me?" And it's like, "Yeah, okay." And so there's a handful of us that's like, and so that's really fun. And it's just a special feeling when you're like, get these little, it's community stuff. It makes you feel good. It's the human interaction that you're sometimes missing. And especially if you're like, if you can't, I mean, I can walk around, but I can't drive myself around. And in
Yeah.
America, that's like, sorry, you're kind of stuck. Because I mean, I live in a town where I can walk to most things, but I'm
Mm.
lucky.
Mm. Something you also talked about there was your own health issues and things like that. I know from talking to Sam in our interview, she dealt with her own health issues a while ago. I've forgotten the date off the top of my head, and that's really bad. But like, I know it was a couple of years ago, correct? She dealt with her own health issues, which
Yeah, and
meant,
she was close. It's close to this time of year because yeah, she had, and if she talked to you about it, I mean, but she did have thyroid cancer. Yeah, that was found early by an awesome doctor, and blessedly, she's been cancer free for, I believe it was her year.
mm,
And then she's gotten all of her stuff, and her blood tests are staying on. And my husband had not the same kind of thyroid cancer, but a different kind, and went through treatments prior to her. So it was like in a way, I already knew what to expect.
mm,
It was like another one of those times. So when she was going through that, I was like, "Hey, like if you need anything, we've already
yeah, yeah,
been around." But I mean, I think it was like best case scenario because I mean, she was a little worried about like the show not being here. And I was like, "Girl, the show's not going anywhere. The show will come back the minute you're
yeah.
ready. You need to worry about your health. You need to worry about." And we did stuff. We had great support from the fight game. Like Keela Cash helped us out a great deal. A lot of,
Mm,
but it was like, no, 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 no. This will always be here if you want it. It's you take care of you.
yeah.
And she, yeah, I'm so like, again, someone caught it early and she had an awesome, but yeah, I feel like it's as people along the way have had their own health issues, I've been like, well, I'm here. And you
Yeah.
know that I can tell you what not to do with medical insurance and health and
Mm.
I sneak candies into the nurses. They'll always be nicer to you. And I mean, any just little pointers you need, I'm there for you.
That's
So,
that's really cool. What I was going to ask though about her health issues was that meant you had to do a few solo shows and things like that. So what did that sort of teach you about podcasting, and did you enjoy doing solo shows?
I didn't really end up having to do too much solo work because our community at Fight Game Media stepped up. Now, being the person in charge of the entire show and trying to like run the whole show, that was an undertaking.
Mm,
So, I mean, I wasn't entirely alone, but it's hard. It's hard to juggle. And it's anytime one or the other of us is like a co-host with us and the one of us has to do everything, it's like you greatly appreciate your partner in
yeah.
crime when they are missing. And you greatly appreciate, she's really great at screening comments and doing that. Like she's great at popping,
Oh yes.
like she's so good at it. And she's got like a little backup crew that helps her keep the trolls out of there. And I'm good at that, but not as good at it just because how my neurological process works. So it's like she can like bookmark things in her brain and come back to them and do all this
Yeah.
stuff. And so when I have to do that alone, I'm like, ah. So trying to keep my cool under those circumstances, yeah, that was a new test.
Mm,
It's, I'm sure that it came through a few times. I mean, the good news is I'm like, well, we have a very forgiving group of people
mm,
and a very helpful group, and everyone was so supportive of Sam and of us that it never felt like it mattered. It was
mm,
just, we have a cool group.
mm.
We've this, I can't believe it. But this 3 years, like, it's becoming a thing where we have people. It still blows my mind when someone like tags us into a whole like serious conversation about what's going on social media. It's like, oh, they want my opinion.
Mm. That's really, really cool. What you talked about earlier in this, Mel, making sure you appreciate where you are as a wrestling fan and things like that, like the sights, sounds, and smells, etc. So, what's been your biggest sort of I was there moment? I remember this clear as day sort of thing.
Okay, so I thought it would always be when Kazuchika Okada beat Jay White for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at Madison Square Garden. And then I went to Toronto and saw Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay too. And and there were other great matches on that card as well, but I mean,
Mm,
just I knew it was gonna, but wow. I mean, and we were so like we were very close, and
mm,
we were not as close for the first Forbidden Door, and there wasn't as big of a match on there. And that knowing, especially now that that sort of thing may never happen again, or maybe like further and fewer between, it's even more punctuated. I mean, that was, yeah, that was art. It's
mm,
amazing. Like and I've seen some moments, but I don't think anything can beat that. It lived up to the hype and then some.
mm. I understand what you're saying completely there. So you talked about as well, we've talked a lot in this conversation about mental health and things like that and keeping your mental health in check. But how do you deal with burnout on them days that you're like, Sam, I'm really not feeling this today, girl. How do you deal with burnout as a creator and things like that?
Fortunately, we have a good language between us where as much as we don't want to like I don't know, say disappoint our community, we also they seem to show up for us no matter
Yeah.
what. And when there's days where we really, it's like, do you want to go on feeling like goo and try and power through this when you've honestly got in real life things happening? Or like, because if it's not going to make you feel better, it's just going to make you worse. It's
Yeah.
not adding any benefit to, like, we both have very intricate, like, personal lives that we have to live, and we love power bombshells. I don't ever want power bombshells to be a source of stress for either of us, especially
Mm.
not her. So when those days come, we are very honest with each other, and I know it's like really weird to hear, but girls can actually like come to each other where they're at, meet in the middle, and be totally understanding and caring of each other in community. I'm being sarcastic, but it is sort of like
No, but I do
the old
understand what you
cliche
mean.
goes that, we can't, and it's really quite the opposite. I think there's sometimes when two of us maybe are overly worried about one another to the point where it's like, we definitely don't have to do this if you don't. And it's like, no, I want to get on here and have a day because this week did
Mm.
suck so bad and my burnout is so bad that this will lift me up and this will give me the dopamine and the endorphins, my good ones and this will make me remember that there's people in my life that and
Mm.
especially like if there's nothing else that's that like I can sit there with Sam and we can talk about how ridiculous an angle was or something like that and not get too serious about it like some people do because it's still supposed to be fun. That's the thing
Yeah.
about any sport. It's still supposed to be our getaway. There's everything in the world is so contentious. We don't need any more of that. Like if you have legit beef, that's fine. We can talk about that a little. But overall, it's like we're all supposed to be here to have a good time and to chill out. Like, I can't let my wrestling fandom be consumed by all those other external powers and refuse to, frankly. That's where I'm like, that's my wall. I draw the line there. And so if it becomes a mental burden for either of us, that defeats the entire purpose of what we're trying to accomplish. I feel like, I mean, I don't want to speak for both of us, but if it were ever were a time where one of us were forcing ourselves onto the air, I think that would defeat the entire purpose. I think it would make, if the other one found out about it, they'd feel really bad. Like I'd
Yeah.
feel really terrible. It just downright would. I'd rather miss a show. I'd rather go on a Friday night I mess up a schedule. I'd rather pre-record something or, you know, she Sam's special. Like we just have a good thing going. We really do, and it is. I value her a great deal, and I we're super like it's just so awesome to be able to continue to say that like I have that in my weekly lineup, and once in a while she's gonna need to rest her voice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
So,
need to rest my head.
mm. So you mentioned there about it's how special Sam is and things like that, and how special your dynamic is as well. If Sam came to you and said, "Look, this isn't for me anymore. Wrestling, I'm not as invested as I was." Would you? And she said, "I've got to step away." Would you want to step away, or do you think maybe you could continue?
Um, I would definitely discuss it with her because it's our thing. Um, my power bombshells is power bombshells. So, it would probably have to be something entirely different. I would totally understand, and I mean, I totally get it. I mean, like I said before, it's like, things end and nothing lasts forever, and that reality could very well materialize. And if it did, I would be entirely supportive of her. I would
Mm.
want to make sure that whatever else she was doing, that I continued to support her on it, unless she did something crazy off the wall that I don't think is in her character to
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, she's beyond proven like what kind of workhorse she is. I mean, she does the work. She cares about the things that she writes about. I would want nothing but for her to be successful. And if that meant not doing the podcast, and then, yeah, if someone said, hey, you want to fill in a spot here, or, I mean, I don't know how I would work on doing something else, but I think that Power Bombshells is Sam and Mel. I think that that's kind of,
Yeah.
we have plenty of honorary broads, as we call them, that come on and fill in for people and fill in for each other, or just help out with stuff, or just want to come hang out with us. But I don't know. I think it's us. That's it. It's very much an us thing. We built it together. We came up with the way it would work. It would be weird to try and like. It'd be like recasting a really important like member of a thing and trying to like act like everything was normal.
So it'd almost be like, to use a 90s wrestling reference, them trying to recast Kevin Nash or Diesel and Razor Ramon, shall we say?
Pretty much. Yeah. It would not be pretty.
That's really, really cool. As we look at wrapping this up, Mel, because to be honest, we've been talking 40 minutes and I do want to be respectful of your time, sort of thing. Before we do my traditional wrap-up segments, I do have two sort of questions for you. How do you define success, and do you view the podcast as a success?
Oof. Success is so fleeting. It's one of those things that like, and I mean, I went into a deep economics nerd hole. So it's like, most people would say bottom lines and things like that. I make no money doing any of these things.
Mm.
We split ad revenue is about as much as that, and that's like, $12 a year or something. That's occasionally like, to me, being a success is just about like making sure that you're getting up every day and putting your best foot forward and doing their absolute best. And whatever that looks like on any given day. Sometimes that's just getting out of bed and making yourself tea or a cup of coffee or whatever makes you feel good and coloring something and Power Bombshells is 1,000%. It's way, way beyond what I ever could have imagined. I mean, we have regular people come and show up
Mm.
every week to talk to us in the podcast chat. We have people that talk to us during the week about relevant topics. We're getting looped into these conversations, and I take that seriously that someone took a part of their day to include me in a thought they were having. I mean, I've some of the hats back here have been bought for I've got the luchador mask or lucha mask one in the back that's I mean it's a little fuzzy, but uh someone brought that back from Marina, Mexico and sent that to me because of
Oh
the hat
wow.
gimmick on the show. I've gotten one from Japan now. I mean, it's and people don't have to do that. They don't have to like that's someone's like thinking about you on your trip. Then they're like, Mel needs that hat to be, and it's so that's so great. And I just think that to me, having even two people like regularly showing up, even if it's my husband and her sister, that's really cool. Like, but
Mm.
it's not like that. We do have people. They helped us get a sponsorship opportunity earlier in the year. It's I'm just really honored and excited that people. So to me, yeah, I mean, because I can't go out and do a monetary success thing the way that the standard production Bible would give us in our
Oh
world
yeah,
because of my
trust me.
disabilities.
I know,
So,
if you
so
know what I mean.
it's yeah, exactly. So, and you know, and there's a lot much speculation about us wanting to just sit in our homes with our like sheets over our heads and have no fun
Yes,
ever
thank
again.
you.
Yeah,
Yes,
which is
so wrong.
what? But no, we're actually human. We have needs and wants and dreams still, despite the fact that we have medical conditions.
Yes.
So, yes, you hear me. So, yeah, I mean, to me, just being able to like get up and get out there and be like, "Hey, hi, I'm a disabled person that's existing in the world and with all you folks, and I'm doing the best I can." And Power Bombshells is like icing. It's so flattering and so fun.
Mm. What do you think the overall legacy of the show will be when it's all over, Mel?
Gosh,
I asked the big questions here.
it's a good one. I haven't thought about because you don't think about having a legacy with people, but then you think about the fact that you've been on something 3 years and that you have 181 episodes coming up. And I hope it encourages more women to get out and speak in what have potential, like, it's becoming more common, but like, if you're into sports, if you're into wrestling, which I think is a sport, but you know, if you're into something that I guess for lack of saying it, that it would be considered a predominantly male space.
Mm.
But if you like that and gaming, if you like that, like I hope that the legacy is like girls can create podcasts that are interesting about stuff like that too. They don't just have to be about what I
Jewelry,
don't know, what
for
you would
example.
traditional girl, whatever you would the standard.
Jewelry, for example.
Yeah, yeah, braiding and exactly. And not to slag on those things because those people are artists too. But
Yeah,
again,
yeah, definitely.
but is that and I'm someone who played football. So I played soccer from the time I was 5 years old and I played competitively. I was 4 years
Oh, wow.
varsity, I played club, I so it's for me, I've always been a sports nerd. I watched football, NFL football with my dad. That was something we could relate on. Like so yeah, it was you can like I hope that it's that ladies can do this too and that there are people like Garrett out there
Mm,
that are willing to give us a platform,
mm.
which I mean, he was so excited. He's been so supportive. I've been with a lot of people and on a lot of different networks. Garrett Gonzalez is the real deal. He is good people
Oh, he's a
through
good
and
dude.
through.
He's a
He
really good
is
dude.
he didn't have to like take a chance. I mean, she at least had a background. I'm like sometimes I'm kind of like I'm the goofy one in the hat, you know. It's that's where I'm at with that. But yeah, it's I if anything, I think that it will leave it like we have younger fans and we have our great logo and we have fun. I think that what if anything, it's that those girls enjoyed wrestling and talked about it in a nice way instead of doing the rage baiting and hate
Mm.
mongering that happens a lot in this community.
You mentioned Garrett there. Just quickly before we do my traditional wrap-up segments, what is something that he's maybe taught you about podcasting?
Oh man, Garrett is so like he's been so like it's about his patience and understanding, like his taking the time to understand people and where they are coming from. Like there have been times even in our Discord where I marvel at this man's patience with people and how he gets to the crux of what their real issue is. He's so good at that. So really like watching him as he feels out in a because he's a very human thing. It's not fake in any way at all. He very much is like you're this kind of person. I understand how you are. He's so good at talking to people. It's like it's that, but that's it, is being patient with yourself, being patient with other people that may not talk to you in the same way that you talk to them. And so you may have different points of view. Like, there's been plenty of times where I've been like, can you explain how this person is coming off and what I'm missing? And he's just like, yes, here's what and so which is something I really like strive for with people because meeting people where they are is something that you have to do because
Definitely.
everybody's background is so different and life is so different, but he is excellent at it. And so, I mean, that's his patience and then his poise with like microphone work. Like he's so like his Fridays with Dave are some of my absolute favorite. Like I basically was cutting out like everything else, but still will listen to him talk to Dave because he can guide Dave so properly in the direction of like having a constructive conversation that
Yeah.
is just, and I admire that. And he's interviewed even some people that it's like I had to listen to a couple. I mean, when he had like Ric Flair is a great example. I absolutely was like, I would never listen to this except I wanted to hear how Garrett handled interviewing someone that I knew wasn't necessarily someone that you would necessarily want to interview because it's the right thing to do for you. I want to see how he handled it because if anyone was going to handle it professionally, it was Garrett. And that is like, so that's the kind of thing with him. He is like, for lack of a better, he's such a great coach. He's a
Yeah.
great coach and he'll have a great coaching tree behind him, I think, is the kind of like thing that he'll leave sort of as the imprint along the way.
I have a very self-indulgent question before we
Okay,
get some wrap-up questions.
sounds
We've
good.
been talking for an hour almost. Where can I improve? What did you enjoy about this conversation? Everything in between.
Oh man, this was like, well, first it was very unexpected. I'm not used, like I said, I'm not used to being interviewed. So, I thought all the questions were really great. I mean, I was not expecting any of those. So, it's, I, I really like meeting new people and seeing how they
Mhm.
do what they do. So it's really fun for me to see like the way that you're it's like okay, how's this person going to handle interview show, how is this person going to interview it. So I love that you're one of my favorite things is just when you're able to just connect with the host and not feel
Definitely.
like they're stiff or you're stiff or like it's I'm like because I always I mean anytime you go into an interview you're like okay, am I gonna like is this host and are we gonna be
But
able
the
to hit it
word
off?
interview is very intimidating as
Yeah,
well.
it can be. I'm usually on the interviews, like I'm not usually on this end,
You're
is
an
I think the
interviewer
biggest thing
rather
for
than
me.
the interviewee.
So yeah, it's so for me it's like hard to critique being it's like I think you asked awesome questions. I mean I think that I like appreciate that you're not pressing, but you're welcoming to people talking about, like I did notice that you people were talking very openly about things like mental health and their well-being and things like that. And I think it's important that all of us like do keep those channels open because we are all dealing with the same stuff. These are usually labors of love.
Hmm?
So it's but yeah, I think this is great. I'm really excited to hear everybody else's. Like this has been kind of like I was telling Sam, I'm like, we'll get to hear each other's answer just separately in October.
That is quite funny, and
So,
I really appreciate that. But as we look at wrapping this up, Mel, we are going to do the classic Tom Talks Rubbish wrap-up segment called generic wrestling questions. So
ooh,
I've seen my interviews before. When I saw our last Mel, her favorite match, favorite pay-per-view card, such as Double or Nothing 2019. For example, favorite wrestlers' entrance, music, favorite tag team, and the biggest generic question of all, guys, her favorite wrestler of all time. So, what's your favorite match of all time, my friend?
Oof. You know what? This is a crazy one, but I still say this all the time. Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy at Forbidden Door 1. I saw it live. It was freaking amazing. It was unexpected on a really stacked card. Even though I mean Omega Okada obviously is one of those legendary matches, but just
Mm,
it was so good. It was that was probably my favorite. Just heart pick.
that's really, really cool. Believe it or not, and this is going to make me sound like a proper like wrestling novice, but I don't care. That was my first Will Ospreay match, believe it or not.
That's awesome. Well, you have to start somewhere.
Exactly. I fully agree with you. What about your favorite pay-per-view card overall, my friend?
Okay, so I'm gonna say that it's that the Sting Revolution card was probably
2023?
my yeah, I think that was probably my favorite. It was very complete. This most recent All In was very good and it ended on a high note, but I think that Revolution where Sting retired was probably my favorite just all around. Just bell to bell, such a good show. It was well set up, well timed, great send out for him. I liked it a lot. So.
That's really, really cool. And then what about your favorite wrestler's entrance music?
I have it on my one of my Liger. It's Liger, 100%.
Juicing Thunder Liger for people that
That's
don't.
correct. Yes, the of course I'm forgetting the name of it. It's on my I have an alarm for one of my medicine. It just my I have a blue healer and they're very smart and it's also an alarm for him. So when he hears it, he will actually come running now
Oh,
to
wow.
so I have a dog that comes running to Liger's entrance theme and it's my favorite thing in the world.
That's
So
awesome. What
I
about
mean, Kaze ni Nare would be like second, but only because I love singing along. So
so
that's
do
for
I.
Suzuki. So.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. What about your favorite tag team, my friend?
Oh, shoot. I'm gonna say, oh, go with your heart. Honestly, right now, at the end of all things, the Young Bucks are becoming like the top of my list right
Mm,
now. I mean, I was a huge Hardys fan back in the day. I thought that they changed everything. They were so much fun to watch. I think this minute, though, like if I had to say like all time because of what they continue to do, and have you read their book? The Bucks are like, they're
I'm
just
listening to their
money.
book on audio at the
It's,
minute.
I know it
Love
sounds
it.
generic, but it's because of what they've done and how they've been able to continue to accomplish it. And now even they're coming back around. And I was the one telling people to hang in there because I had read their book. I was like, hang in there with this EVP thing. They're going somewhere. They
Mm,
always have a plan. And now it's like these guys again. It's
mm.
just, it's great.
That's really, really cool. And then finally, Mel, the biggest generic question, in my opinion. Who is your favorite overall wrestler of all
It's
time?
Okada. It's Okada. It's Kazuchika Okada, 100%. It's always and forever. I mean, it just is. I've gotten to see him live many times. I've got Okada dollars that we had to like wrestle away from the sex. They're very like tight with those. They don't let you just take those Okada bucks away. They are very,
Oh,
but he just is the greatest. I mean, I know that a lot of people know that they're like always on, listen, he's done everything though, and he's allowed to be okay, and he still shows up for pay-per-views. And I've been in buildings with people who are seeing him for the first time, and it's just as glorious for them to see him for the first time in a small venue as it was for me when I saw him the first time in Madison Square Garden. Because even 5 years ago, that didn't seem possible.
mm. That's really, really cool. And then finally, Mel, the question I end this show on is I believe as YouTubers, podcasters, even just people with general social media, we're all still gonna live forever in a very, very strange way if you think about the world. So what is one piece of content you're like, yeah, please remember me for that, guys? And then what is one that you're like, no, guys, I'm good. Forget about that one.
So. Definitely the live episode that we did of Sidecast could disappear forever, and I think did, and that is good. That was the only time we met in real life, but we were meeting for in real life, and we decided to do it at the end of the night, which is never wise.
Was there
So,
alcohol involved?
Possibly. Possibly large quantities. We met up in Salem, Massachusetts for the first it was our friend, one of the hosts is from Ireland, and he wanted to come to Salem during Halloween.
Mm.
So he did, and we did some very Halloweeny things, including they decided to try the absinthe, and we'll
Oh
just,
dear.
it's, yeah. So, um, but I think remembered for Sam and I did a really important interview with Professor Bridget Carr at the University of Michigan last year about human trafficking and how to recognize it in your community.
Mm.
And Sam hooked that up. And I have a good friend that used to be a coach of mine that used to work for me who has been working. She quit that job to go start a house for girls 10 years ago, helping victims. So this has been a sort of a pet cause of mine anyway. And I just was so proud of that interview. I think that our show is all over the place. We don't have one specific thing that we focus on, even though we are covering that. And I think that for us to be able to like talk about, Hangman Page smelling candles one week, but then be able to have a serious conversation like that, I'm really proud of that. And I'm really proud of Sam for setting it up. And it's something that we periodically share when these things come up for the
Yeah.
case that was very informative, and it was something that I was even able to share with my friend out in Colorado doing that, and she actually thanked us. And I think I mean, what else can you ask for but to actually see a discernible impact somewhere in your community? Like you don't get that much. And
Mm.
I mean, that's us together, but like Sam, I wouldn't have been in that headspace without her, and I don't regret that. I'm glad that I'm along for this ride with her.
That's a beautiful way to end this, if I'm honest, Mel. But as we do, please promote yourself. Where can the good people find you, your work, etc.?
We are at Powerbombshells on Blue Sky and at Twitter and on all the threads and all the metas and all of those things. I'm at Melgrade on Twitter. You can pretty much find me all from there. It's kind of leaping off from there. We are on the Fight Game Media Network every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Uh, we're always on our own time. We're always on Wizard time, but we are always there. And we've got our pre-show coming up for the All Out pay-per-view at the end of the month as well. So give us a
As I
watch.
say,
Always
this
join
might
us.
have aired after that. I'm going to be totally honest.
That's okay. All Out was awesome. So it was
Yeah.
definitely awesome. But if you can always go back and watch our replays, we do keep them up there on the channel, and definitely check out Fight Game Media because it's a wonderful, wonderful group of humans.
It's well worth doing, guys. One of the hardest working people in this space, but one of the nicest as well. So if you guys like this, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Tom Talks Rubbish on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter or X at Tom Talks Rubbish, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye now.
Thanks for watching this Tom Talks Rubbish conversation. Before you go, please make sure you leave a like on the video, share it around, and subscribe to Tom Talks Rubbish on YouTube, as well as follow Tom Talks Rubbish on Twitter/X.